we're going to take a look at GIMP, and this is really going to be an introduction for pretty much all of you to this program. It's a really good alternative to Photoshop. It's open source, which means it's free, it's constantly being updated, and it's a really great option that has pretty much the entire slew of tools that Photoshop offers. So it's a really good option for those of you that are maybe looking to do some photo editing at home but want to save some money. So we're going to take a look at GIMP, and when you open up GIMP, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. This region over here to the top left where my mouse is, this is called the toolbox. This is where you're going to access all of your different tools that you can use to edit your object. So things like a rectangle, or you can draw a big circle around things, or a square using our lasso tool here. All of these things offer different functions, and what's really nice is if you hover over it, it'll give you a little bit of a description. So this is called the free select tool. Sometimes people call it the lasso tool, and you can just basically use it to draw around certain regions that you can use to highlight. The other cool part is that little F at the end there tells you the keyboard shortcut, so I can always access this tool just by hitting F. So let's take a look at job 1, and we'll get into some of the more cool features as we move through it. So job 1, first thing we have to do is open our file, so open our picture. So we can do that by going to File, Open, or what's maybe even easier is if you just have the file right here, job 1, I can just drag and drop it into this space here. I'll let go, and it should open up. And when it does, it might ask you to convert the image. For right now, we're not going to worry about that. You can just hit Convert, and your image will appear. And we have Mickey greeting us here. So what we're trying to do in job 1 is basically what we're trying to do is change some of the features of Mickey to a different color. So we're going to start off by looking at the ears. So we're going to grab our magic wand, or sometimes it's called the fuzzy select tool, but lots of times, especially in Photoshop, it's called the magic wand. So we're going to go to fuzzy select, so I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on the ears, and watch what happens when I click on the ears. So you see this dotted line drawn around this entire shape. So what this tool does is it is kind of like an automatic recognition. So it recognizes that this black part above Mickey's face is all one object. So it uses an algorithm to detect that, and it highlights only that. So now what we want to do is we want to change the color of this. And we select our colors by going to our color selection panel right here. The one in front is our foreground color. The one in the back is our background color. And we can choose either any color we want for either of these things. And we can always just flip them nice and quick. For now, we're not going to really worry about the background color, but we will be worrying about our foreground color. So let's take a look at our foreground color, and we'll change it to a different color. So I'm going to pick maybe something in the blue region, maybe something like that. Yeah, I like that. So my color is now selected as a weird looking blue. I've already selected the object that I want to make blue, and that's shown by this like dotted line around here. So now all I have to do is paint it. And how do we paint? Well, we go to our bucket tool, and this will just put all of that color right onto our highlighted object. So if I click on that, boom, it will turn to blue for us. We also want to do this to change Mickey's pants and his shoes. So just like before, we'll use our magic wand. I'll click on his pants, and now you notice it's smart enough to recognize that this is one object using its algorithm. And we can change his pants to a different color. So I'll click on that, and maybe I'll make them an ugly green. Perfect, got that color. I'll switch to my bucket, and I'll dump that paint on. Very, very nice. And then I'll grab my magic wand again, and I'll select his shoes. And this process for you might take a little bit of steps, because you kind of got to go one by one, unless on your Windows computer you can hold down the Control key and select multiple things. So for me, on my Mac, unfortunately I have to go one by one here. So what I'm going to do is click on that. I'll change the color to a red. Perfect. I'll fill that. All right, and we'll repeat the same process over and over here, and we'll just keep going. So it doesn't take long, and especially if you can use keyboard shortcuts. So if I just click the U and then I select this, great, and then I switch to my paintbrush, and that's with Shift B, so for my bucket, and I'll dump that on. And so now what we've done is we've changed Mickey. We've changed all of his colors around just by repeating this process. And now what we need to do is we need to save this object. So there are two things you need to do to save this. First, you want to just save it. So we always want to use save as. So we're going to go to save as, and notice this right here, job01.xcf. This is the file extension for GIMP. Just basically means when you open it back up, it's going to be a GIMP file. So if you sent job01.xcf to somebody on like your iPhone, they probably wouldn't be able to open it because XCF is not really a normal file format. It's something that's basically used by photo editing software to tell the computer, hey, we're still working on this, it's not really finished yet, but if you open this up, it'll be really easy for you to start editing it right where you left off. So we always like saving one version of this as an XCF, just means like an editable picture format. So we'll save one of these as an XCF, and we'll just make sure we're in the right spot. Yep, I'm in my picture files folder. I'm going to hit save. Lovely. And the other one is if I want to send this to somebody, I want to make sure that they can actually open it. So I'm going to go to export. So I'm going to click export. And now notice the file extension here. It's a PNG. This is a very normal format that pretty much all devices can open. It's very similar to a JPG or a JPEG. So we're perfectly okay with this. So job01.png, I'm still in my pictures files folder. I will hit export, and you will get this popping up. You do not need to worry about dealing with the compression levels or anything like that. You can just hit export. So we'll just export, hit export again, and we're good. Perfect. And that is job01 done. So now if you took a look in your folders, you should see two files. You'll see the XCF, which means the GIMP file, and the PNG, which is the actual picture file. Perfect.